Mike Ditka did an interview over the weekend, and he weighed in on politics. Now, I'm sure many of you don't know, but Mike Ditka actually has been involved in politics in his life. There are times where he considered running for office, and, there's a laundry list of comments that he's made about politics that are publicly available, so it's not like he's far into the process and to commenting. And here's what he said, quote, "Barack Obama's a fine man. I mean, he's pleasant. He would be great to play golf with. He's not a leader. This country needs leadership. It needs direction. It needs somebody that steps up front. We need somebody like Ronald Reagan. Every once in a while, you're going to get punched in the chops, but you keep going forward. That's all there is to it. It's not always going to be a perfect situation, but to do what he does, there's no leadership there. I think that becomes very disgusting to me. Obama is the worst president we've ever had." It's like that gets progressively dumber and dumber as he goes on. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about how little he really knows about policy substance and specifics. Go talk to your conservative uncle, go talk to anybody who you know that's a strident right-winger, and ask them about politics or about their thoughts on Obama or whatever, and you'll notice something. It's always framed as a characteristic conversation or a quality conversation. Well, this is the kind of person, he's not a leader. He's not strong. You need to be strong in order to run the country, and you need to have the principles. And it's always vague, generalized words that, again, are focused on characteristics and qualities. What's lacking when you focus on that aspect? Policy substance. Now, why are they not discussing policy substance? They don't know dick about policy substance. So when you say he's not a leader, Mike Ditka, do you know that, for example, Obama's dropped thousands of bombs on ISIS? Now, his Middle East policy is so fucking hawkish, I don't agree with it. He's done interventions in 7 different countries. Now, my guess is, if it's a Republican that did this, oh, leader, strong, look at him, standing up for America, protecting the world. But when it's Obama, he probably doesn't even know that he did these things, and he can't give you specifics, and he's just like, weak, something, I heard it on Fox News, whatever, feckless, that's another word they use that I've never heard in any other context other than besmirching and smearing Democratic politicians. Feckless, it's so feckless. So there it is. They can't give you policy specifics, they can't give you data, they can't give you information. They can't tell you what bills they've pushed for, what they've got accomplished. So, I don't know, leader, not a leader, something, strong, strength, feckless, whatever. That shows that you're ignorant. You're ignorant, but you want to have your voice heard anyway on politics. So you have verbal diarrhea in front of the world, and you kind of expose your ignorance. But obviously the most important part is, Obama is the worst president we've ever had. That's a quote. That's directly from him. Obama is the worst president we've ever had. If you make a comment like that, that's it. You've outed yourself as a silly person. You've outed yourself as a moron. Because you have to understand that these things are empirically measurable, okay? Don't get me wrong. Is there room for opinion? And hey, I weigh this factor more than that factor, so therefore this person's the best to me, even though he may not be to you. Sure, there is room for disagreement and debate, no question. But some things are not open for debate. You go category by category and see who has the better record. So, for example, Mike Ditka, George W. Bush, under his 8 years in office, in his time in office, the United States net lost 646,000 private sector jobs. That's a record that's so abysmal that Jimmy Carter, who's often called a shitty president when it comes to the economy, in his 4 years in office, we gained 1 million jobs. Bush, in 8 years, we lost 646,000 jobs. That's not open to debate as to whether or not it's a good record or a bad record. It is empirically at the bottom when it comes to presidential records. That's it. So maybe you don't know that, but now you do. And now you know, hey, I can't make the argument he's better than Obama because he's not. Now with Obama, there's been over 12 million private sector jobs created. Not opinion, not conjecture. This is fact. Oftentimes on the right, people say, well, we care about the debt and the deficit. Okay, well, let's look at the debt and the deficit. George W. Bush left us with an annual deficit of $1.4 trillion, okay? President Obama. What was his recent deficit number? About $480 billion. Not conjecture, not opinion. It's a matter of fact that President Obama, even according to conservative ideology, is better on the deficit than George W. Bush was. Not to mention the wars that were put on the credit card, not to mention the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession that happened under George W. Bush, which, yes, Obama got us out of. I have many problems with how he's handled the economy, but you can't say that George W. Bush was better. That's factually incorrect. And the list goes on and on. So when you say Obama's, quote, the worst president we've ever had, you're simply wrong. Hey, by the way, there were also a lot of presidents that upheld slavery. Were they not worse than Obama? How sad are you? No, this is a deeply silly person and a partisan hack. And he has verbal diarrhea in front of the world. I don't know, worst president we've ever had. Yeah, he's a bad guy. Well, you know, perhaps you might want to understand what empiricism is and what data is before you make comments like this and you continue to embarrass yourself further.